When objections occur in the sales process, two things can happen. The first thing is we can control them in the right way, we can understand really the core meaning behind the objection and frame the conversation the way we want it to go, or we can let it derail everything and basically put the prospect or the opportunity that we've got completely up in the air and make it just chance whether it happens or not. I know most salespeople would love to be in the first position rather than the second. And doing that requires us to be able to control the way we act and behave and our minds operate so we can deal with objections in the right way. In this little video, I'm going to show you some ideas and tips that you can use to handle objections so that you ensure the deal and the opportunity goes in the direction that you want it to. So when an objection happens, what we've really got to be able to do is understand what is actually taking place at that moment. I always encourage the people I work with to think that if the prospect, the person you're looking to sell with, would have a complete and utter understanding of what you do and feel completely sure that it would solve their issue or solve their want, they'd pretty much go ahead. They wouldn't worry, they wouldn't object to anything. They would literally walk up to you and say, yes, I want to buy your service, and you'd walk away with an order. What an objection is just the thought process that's going through that prospect's mind that means they're not quite ready to do that. And so what it's essential that we do initially is look to qualify that objection. Invariably, the objection is a bit of a smokescreen to stop them getting to the point that I talked about earlier. So firstly, when you get an objection, look to qualify it with the person. Be able to ask a question such as, can you just let me know a little bit more about what you're thinking here? Or, tell me, you mentioned that this is not a priority for you right now, Joe. Tell me a little bit more about why you think that's the case. Be able to qualify the objection so we can really see if there is a problem that that prospect has that stops them from giving you the order, or whether it's just a smokescreen to another feeling of uncertainty or doubt that they've got about you and your service. When the objection does happen, I think there's 4 key things that you should then look to do with that objection. The first is to listen to it. Listen intently to the objection and to the tone and the words being used. If someone says, for example, your price is too high, then you can take from that not only do they think the price is too high, but their tone might give away some feelings of real coldness and discontent with you as a person or company. And so you're going to need to really work a little bit harder on that one. But if you can listen to the objection, really understand what it is that they have to say, it's the first step in the process. The second part of that objection is to then acknowledge that that person has said what they've said. Being able to say, hey Paul, I totally understand why you think what you think, and I really understand why you feel that way. Means we're acknowledging what the prospect is thinking, we're acknowledging the objection, and we're then actually saying, we're okay, we're trying to empathise with how they're feeling. And that's a key element when it comes to getting sales results, to show empathy with our prospects and to make sure we're not belittling or thinking less of them because of the objection they've raised. The third element is to then go back and identify what they've told us. So being in a position when someone's given us the objection and we've acknowledged it, is to really identify the core issue that they're talking about here. What this means is we've got to be able to really understand and see that that objection is the main reason and issue for that prospect. For example, if someone says that the price is too high, what we might want to then do is identify that actually the price is the issue rather than something else. So it could well be that we say, just wanted to clarify, Paul, that you've mentioned that the price is too high. So if we were to basically remove the price issue for the moment, would we be able to go forward? If you get the response that says yes, we would, then we know we've been able to identify that it is that the price or the value that is there for the prospect. Whereas actually if it's something different, we then know that we've got to adjust our approach to be able to pick and find out what's really causing the prospect to object in the first place. Identify what really is the cause, and once you do that, you can then look at taking plans to solve it. The fourth way to be able to then handle the objection is to then respond to the objection. Once we've listened, we've acknowledged, once we've identified it, what we can then use is a phrase or a statement to be able to respond back that looks to try and create some thought process in the mind of the prospect and really look to say to them and understand who they are and what they're about. For example, if it was related to price, we might go back with a response that says, I totally understand that price is a concern, but would you also agree that it's the quality of the product and service which is also key within any buying criteria? What we're doing then is being able to respond to the prospect to really understand what drives them and what's the key factor behind the objection. The key element around objections is making sure we listen and engage with the prospect in the right way, and that we don't let it derail our conversation. If we do, and if we don't have frameworks to deal with the responses that we get, the deal is going to be lost. But if we can qualify it and really identify what stops the prospect from moving forward, then it's going to help us get better results, because we're going to then be able to address those issues, hopefully solve them, and hopefully walk away with an order. The final element around objections, as I've mentioned, is really probing beneath the surface. Objections happen, as I said at the start, because the prospect is not totally convinced that you're the company or person to do business with. And so our goal is to probe underneath and to ask the right questions to really try and understand what's underneath their skin, how they're feeling, and what's going on inside their minds. And if we can do that through the questions that we ask and in the way in which we ask them, we're going to find that prospects hopefully give us responses back that we can either then solve by showing them new information or evidence, or be able to show them that actually that the worry they have is unfounded. If we do that, if we qualify effectively, if we probe underneath what's causing the concern, then the objection can hopefully be dealt with, and it can enable us to move forward and hopefully win the deal. And what we've got to be able to do is train our brains and train our minds to be able to adjust and adapt when the objection comes in. If we do that, I can assure you it's going to set you on the path for greater sales success. So in order to help us control our mindsets when it comes to sales, we've got to be able to think positively and let our minds control more of what we actually do on a day-to-day basis. In order to do that, we need to be able to train our minds. And I've been working with one of the world's leading hypnotherapists, Mark Bowden, who's helped thousands of people all over the world solve issues that they have through the power of suggestions and thoughts that go into their subconscious mind. And we've put together a series of sales-related materials that you can use to be able to train your mind to get better sales results. Click at the link at the bottom of this video and you can see what Mark's materials offer you and how you can ensure that if you train your mind to think differently and to handle some of the different situations that come up in sales, I can assure you you're going to be prepared, and it's going to enable you to get better results.